What's up, Nerds and Zeros? I'm Mike from the Earth's Mightiest Zeros, and this is Andrew, and we just saw Hardcore Henry. So Hardcore Henry is marketed as more of an experience than a film, and something that you really need to see in theaters. What did you think? Do you think it held up to that promise?
Yeah, I thought it was pretty awesome. It was definitely unlike anything I had seen before, with a few, minor exceptions, right? Sure. We've seen bits and pieces of stuff like that, but never a whole film in first person, so yeah. I felt like I experienced something.
Yeah, I loved it. I mean, it's like the movie kicks off and it does not stop. Credits roll and you're like, okay,
yeah,
I can breathe now.
There was no room to breathe at all.
Yeah, it was awesome. Back to where you're saying the first person, this is not the first time, but I think it might be the first time that it's done successfully. Like, this was awesome.
Yeah, it was really cool. I didn't really think that it was going to sustain itself for a whole film. Like, I've seen it work in short periods in other movies, but never for a whole movie, and it worked out really well, actually. Like, it was really cool. I felt very immersed, which I think is the whole point of the first-person experience.
There wasn't really a moment where I felt disconnected from being that person. Like, sometimes you can be watching somebody playing a video game, and you're like, all right, I'm going to tune out for a second. But this had me locked in 100% of the time.
Yeah, I mean, you legitimately feel like what's happening to Henry is happening to you. So you give quite a few shits about it. Sure.
And part of that reason is because the plot is good. This is something that, going into this movie, I did not think that... I didn't expect to basically see anything other than senseless action. And yeah, there's a lot of senseless action in this movie. But... the plot is pretty good. It's not like an Oscar-worthy plot, but it's good.
It's at least 3 times more developed than I would have expected.
Yeah, sure.
And I was expecting 0 development, so
yeah,
that might not even be high enough of an honor.
Yeah,
it was really good. The people who sat down and wrote the script were thinking more than just, hey, let's make a movie with a GoPro. They wanted to make a good action movie, and they did.
Exactly, and it stands on its own. And, I mean, that's something that you said right when we left the theater is this movie would have been good if it didn't have the GoPro footage.
Yeah, I would have loved this movie if it were shot, like a traditional movie. Mm-hmm. I was thinking kind of almost weirdly while I was watching it of alternate camera angles in my head, and I just kept comparing it to Kingsman a little bit. I could see it being shot that way and working out really, really well. But, the first person was awesome. I don't think I'd want to see it, for a lot of other movies. I don't think that this is going to be a trend that really lasts very long.
Sure.
I kind of hope that it doesn't last, really past this movie. But, this movie is worth seeing.
The question on a lot of people's mind is, did you get sick?
No.
I didn't either. There was a few moments... at the beginning, maybe, and I guess a couple of times throughout the movie that I was like, oh, okay, maybe, but then I don't know if I adjusted or what, but it was done really well the way it was edited. I thought it was really, really smart, and I just didn't get sick. I was just having a good time.
Yeah, I mean, there were a couple parts where he was, turning really quickly or turning a lot at once, and I was kind of like, ugh. I would say more so, though, if I got sick from anything, it was from some of the stuff in the opening credits.
Yeah.
Just because I'm a little bit squeamish. Warning, if you're a little bit squeamish, those opening credits...
Ugh. Definitely do not sit in the front of the theater. I think that could be a horrible, horrible mistake. But moving on, what were some of your favorite moments of the movie?
Oh, man. I mean, I just really, really like the action sequences. The whole movie was pretty much action-packed. It's kind of like a weird... It's almost like Crank, like you said earlier. Mm-hmm. It's it just keeps going. But there's some really well choreographed fight scenes that I was just like, holy shit.
It was awesome. The action was great, but my favorite part of the movie was Charlton Copley's character. He is so good in this movie. It is so much fun. This movie is incredibly fun. Absolutely incredibly fun.
It's at least half comedy, which I wasn't expecting at all.
Yeah, it really doesn't take itself too seriously. And the world that they've kind of created in this movie, I was a little bit meh on at the beginning, but it worked its way into it, and I thought it worked pretty well. I don't think you really felt exactly the same way.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple parts where you're like, oh, okay, so that's how this is. Wow. all right. And then there were other parts that were like, oh, that's fucking cool, right? Like most of the stuff that you're talking about, I got used to and I grew to accept. I think for me, the only part of it that I was a little bit like meh on was the villain character. He just kind of was like, I don't want to, I feel bad saying this, but he was a little bit Jesse Eisenberg-y at times.
Yeah.
Like, it was just kind of like a little bit over the top or like, maybe tone back just a bit.
He wasn't by any means a great villain, but he was serviceable.
Yeah, he wasn't bad.
He served the plot. It was fine. He was not what I went to the movie to see. When people think first person, they immediately think video games. And I'll go out and say it. This is the best video game movie ever. And it is not even about a video game.
Yeah. I want to play this game when it comes out, which it probably inevitably will.
I hope so. I hope all of you go see this movie so it makes enough money so that we see all kinds of cool stuff. Because they can do a lot of cool stuff from this.
Yeah, just not a sequel.
Yeah, I don't really need one either. I mean, it could be interesting, but there's a certain type of magic in seeing this the first time.
Magic.
All right, so if you had to give this movie a grade, what would you give it?
I would give this movie a solid, like, B+.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Definitely B+. I would almost give it an A, I think. Almost. There's just like a few things that I wish that they could have done a little bit better. This movie is definitely something that you need to see in the theaters, I think. Definitely go see it this weekend and go have some fun. So overall, we really, really loved Hardcore Henry. Definitely go see it this weekend. What did you think of this movie? Tell us in the comments below. If you disagreed with us, tell us why. If you agreed with us, what was your favorite part of the movie? It would really help us out if you liked and subscribed to this channel. And be hardcore.
Not hardcore unless you live hardcore.
Hey!
Hello. Your memory may be poor. I am your wife.
I am your wife.
Hi, I am your wife.
Hello, I am your wife.
Hello, I am your wife.